And this week, Postal 2 faces the CHAIRQUISITION. No, not the shitty Uber Bowl movie. The game, released in 2003. Now available on Linux on the Steam for $10. Actually, it's if you catch it on sale this week, it's $1. So, anyways, it's on the Unreal 1.5 engine, that sort of bastardized mid-step between Unreal 1 and Unreal 2. And what is it? Live a week in the life of the Postal Dude, a hapless everyman just trying to check off some chores, buying milk, returning overdue library books, getting Gary Coleman's autograph. What can possibly go wrong? Well, you'll find out when he faces the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's crap. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's amazing. We also have our categories of doom mixed with working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So, let's go Postal on this, Ven. Did it make with the working?
Boom shakalaka. Boom goes the Postal. Not that horrible, horrible movie that we've all tried to forget. Well, basically anything that Ulbol has ever done. How did it work on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS octo-core 980 powered 4K displayed box of business? Well, it now runs without a hitch, but let's back up a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, to the first time we launched this game, when it flipped the hell out. First, it starts in 640 by 480, somewhere in there. Then I changed it. Say, let's just try, 1080p. I wasn't going to push it directly up to 4K at first. Then it noped out and went back to 640 by 480 in a little window in 4K. So I got real close and personal with my monitor organ and managed to click on it. Then it kind of blew back up. Then it set itself correctly. But the one thing it did, Brad, the one thing it did was it put the Steam Overlay FERPS counter right there in the middle of the screen. That was annoying. No way to get rid of that outside of just giving it a reboot. But it did work. So, mixed with the working, constant 60 even at 4K, which is nice. And it's also nice that, unlike when it was originally released for Linux in 2005, you didn't have to go and hack the INI file to get it to work in widescreen mode. So that was a bonus soda if there ever was. I'm going to give it 3 chairs because, it still feels kind of sticky when you're changing the resolution.
For me, it started off at 800 by 600. But when I went to turn up the resolution, I was honestly surprised that it had a 4K option. Not that it really does much. I mean, it doesn't look that great at 4K, but that's how I played it. So I'll give it 4 chairs. No issues there.
Yeah, it tried to full screen to both my monitors. It failed and disabled the one on the right. I opened the Steam overlay to try and get, after I'd set the resolution, to try and get the window from one monitor to the other. And then I tried, for some reason, to navigate the menu with the mouse. I dare you to try and do that at home, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not gonna fucking work. This was on Aurora 2164-bit on the AMD FX 8370E with the GTX 970 Strix on the latest NVIDIA drivers. So for me, it gets 2 chairs for mixed with the working.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for mixed with the working. Up next is the shiny and the sounds. Ven.
Check it out. This game came out after Unreal and Unreal Tournament 2003. Epic. Come on, let's get that. But, and basically using the same engine. I mean, it's that hybrid version, and I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I mean, the critter looked like a little bit of busted ass when it was originally released compared to the other games that were using similar engines, and it did not make very well with the aging. And let's talk about the shiny. It's, as J-Man said, you blow it up to 4K, that's what you get. You get some nasty-ass textures in 4K glory. And it will run at the 60 FERPS on the 980. No issue with that. But then you get to the sounds. Okay, the guns go pew. The shovels go thwack. That's neat. Didn't mind it. But I had to mute the fucker like the third quip protagonist makes that's supposed to be edgy and was apparently edgy way back when in the long ago. And I was like, shut up. I don't care. Just muted it, put on some Slayer. As is tradition. I mean, it's just very annoying. You can absolutely play this without sound and not have any issues, but that didn't age well and didn't look good to begin with, so I'm going to give this 2 chairs.
I mean, it looks about average for a 2003 game. That's not really saying much considering what kind of games were out in 2003 compared to now, but doesn't really lose any points for that. The voice acting is all right. I mean, they read their lines competently, but there's like 4 fucking lines of dialogue that this guy says, and that he just repeats it again and again. No, don't blame me. Blame the kid behind the screen. Yeah, it gets really, really annoying really quick. Nothing really mind-blowing. These days, it's middle of the road. So it gets a middle of the road score, 2 chairs.
Yeah, I've seen games that were actually released in 2015 that take double the amount of resources from your PC to even start. And they still manage to look worse than this. Like Van already mentioned, it was originally released for Linux in 2005. It came out, the Windows version actually came out in 2003. So, I mean, take it for what it is. The main character, I still very much want to slap him every time he opens his mouth, but that's the only complaint I have with this game. So for me, for Shiny and Sounds, it gets 3 chairs.
So that's 2 chairs total for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is the Control, then.
Full controller support, my arse working. You knew that wasn't going to happen when you noticed it was running SDL 1.2. No luck whatsoever on that. That's just a lie sauce right in your face. But the default layout, basically, I mean, that's normally what you'd want to play this business with, is, you know, your Waz layout. You pick up your dribble, it moves, it scrolls like everything you would expect. The only complaint, which is changeable, is the fact that they put map all the way over on the M button next to Middle Earth, because that's something you're constantly hammering on, going through your detailed list of shite you need to get done. And really, that's the only thing I can ding it for. I mean, outside of that, and it's your standard FPS fare, so I'm going to give it 3 chairs.
Yeah, I mean, most of the findings were sane. I used the inventory thing to look at the map, but really, that brings up my 2 issues with the game's controls. Number 1, the scroll wheel for switching weapons is hypersensitive.
Show title.
I'm gonna go 1 notch and goes to the freaking other end of the inventory. And speaking of the inventory management requires me to take my hands off the mouse and use the square bracket keys. That's not good. But again, all the controls are rebindable, so that's not really an issue. I'll give it 3 chairs.
Yeah, they are rebindable up to a certain point, because like Ven said, it's using SDL 1.2. And SDL 1.2 wasn't exactly renowned for their ability to map keys that weren't in the standard US keyboard layout. See, my keyboard here is a Portuguese layout. And you see those keys there under the F keys? Yeah.
Layouts.
The accents and the pluses and the whatever you call that C with a little squiggly line down.
Yes, moon
below.
language. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is.
The black speech of Mordor.
Those keys, it outright does not recognize them. And since I'm left-handed and I like to play FPS games using the directional arrow keys to move around, I like having those keys being able to be, you know, like move the inventory or like choose the next item or something, but I could not set them. So for me, it gets 3 chairs because of that.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for Control. And finally, the part you've been waiting for, fun. Men, did you have fun playing Postal 2?
As Postal 2. I mean, what were you expecting, Brad? I really don't know. You know, again, I picked this up back in 05, because in 05, I was still genuinely in that mode of I don't care what game it is, I'm buying it on Linux. And that was actually fiscally possible because we had so few. And anybody who bothered to make a port, I was like, I'm going to give you money. I want to show this. Been doing that since the days of Loki. But, you know, after an hour with this version, all I could think was like, where's the popcorn? Because I said, well, we finally brought it up to date with a Windows version. We've got all these new features and fixes, and it's just Postal 2, man. I mean, there's nothing really has changed about all that noise. It is shoot or don't shoot. the game. Because remember, only as violent as you are. And it turns out a lot of people are very violent, because sometimes that's really the only way to get anything done in this game, to be perfectly honest. Most of your playtime is still artificially, I mean, if you're trying to play the game, as opposed to using it as a postal simulator, is just completely inflated by running around.
I get it.
Right. From the top to the bottom, I mean, everything's spread out that makes you have to go. And I mean, that just gets irritating getting your checklist done. But at best, I think this, at best, in the fun category, is something for the 12-year-olds to pick up so they can experience what was considered edgy the year they were born. So, yeah, like I said, it's Postal, man. Didn't age well. I'm going to give this 1 chair because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, for a game that's supposed to be about violent mayhem and that sort of wish fulfillment, it's really fucking boring. Run around, scavenge all the ammo and the armor you can, but don't scavenge all of it, because once it's gone, it's gone. And yes, stick your cat's ass to the end of your shotgun and blast away. I mean, what I actually tried to play the game and not cock around. So they say, go pick up your check. I go to the place to pick up your check. Oh, hey, everyone has guns and are shooting at you. Okay. Step 2, let's gather some guns and go after them. All right, that's all fun. After getting shot out by a bunch of terrorists running a convenience store, I was about half health when I decided I need to go pick up my check. And so it took I think maybe 2 tries to not get just fucked by people. Like the AI of your allies will stick you in a corner and then you'll get shot at and die.
That is definitely something. I mean, you're going to get killed to death a lot, period.
You will get killed to death a lot just because this game is not really all that well put together. I got to the bank and then I got bored and stopped playing. I mean, I'll give it 2 chairs just because, yeah, I mean, it's that kind of game. It's an open world mayhem simulator, but it's not really anything beyond that. It doesn't quite deserve 1 chair, but it's close these days anyways.
Yeah, it's competent. I'll give it that.
Saints Row did it better. That's all I gotta say.
Saints Row was also released in the first version was released in 2011. Just saying.
It still did it better.
But yeah, it's competent. I'll give it that. It's got that 90s vibe of FPS games, and it's clearly taking pot shots at Duke Nukem 3D for having the character actually vocalizing their misogynistic and, well, just outright psychopathic ways. But the level design is a bit meh. It seems as though they wanted a Morrowind-style open world, but just focusing entirely on the FPS mechanics. It doesn't work when your target audience is the FPS crowd, which is usually confined to narrow corridors lined with ammo pickups, which you can easily traverse in a linear progression type way. So it doesn't really work. But you know what? As a satire, which was clearly what they were aiming for, as a satire of like both open world games and first person shooters, I can respect it. So I'm going to give it 3 chairs for the fun.
And that totals out to 2 chairs for the fun and 2 chairs for final score. And I mean, if you're going to pick this game up for $1, because it is on sale right now, yeah, you could certainly do a lot worse than
Yeah, if you can get it for 99 cents, I mean, pick it up, experience what it was. This is basically the proto version of Hatred, because the game
Hatred wishes it was this.
Never really that big of a thing. I mean, the reason Postal blew up because all the controversy around it, and it was one of those things just like, oh, we gotta get that game. That game's pissing people off. We gotta look at it. And at the end of the day, kind of like Hatred, when you boil it down, it's like, all right, well, that was all right. If you scrape off the hype, it's not really that much to play with, P-Man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hatred only had the one video games media going after it, which was Polygon. And at this point, Polygon has as much push with video games as Kotaku, all things considered. So, yeah, no, this game is competent. If you're willing to put up with all of the stereotypes and all of the game mechanics from way back in again, 2003. So keep that in mind. But hey, for $1, I'd buy that for $1.
That you just butchered that quote. I'm sorry. That just gave me cancer.